Hey all, just typing you a little message. Today is my revised, updated book, book 4. Turns out it's going to be a 9 chapter long book, not 8 like it originally was. I've edited 2 chapters and turned them into 4 chapters because they were long chapters. So I cut them in half and came up and decided to do that. So where I'm starting at now is chapter 7. This is new chapter 7, as you can see. And it's going to be a fun one. The war is over. The rebellion won. The emperor literally lost his head. Had a bad day. Hmm. Damn, too late. I can't. I was just thinking. Too late for that. No, that's all right. Because once I get to revive this is the. I haven't got anything from the publisher, but this is since I got this. This is the publisher's copy. See, been copyrighted, so that's my book. But it's going. I was thinking, why a male emperor? Why not a female empress? But it's too late. I don't know if I could change it in the book. I'd have to talk to my publisher. He's only mentioned briefly in the book, and I don't think I mention as a he or she. I just mention his name briefly in book 1. All right, well, shall we get started? Chapter 7, book 4. Thirsty. Just water today. All right, here we go. Welcome to Ucrania Prime, Admiral Spears. He hears as he disembarks from his personal shuttle, followed by his senior staff, Rena and Hannah. They set foot on the throne world Ucrania. As they set foot on the throne world Ucrania Prime, former home of the Galactic Empire and the Emperor himself. I'm going to see if I could change that to her, but we'll see. Stephen has not been here since he rescued his beloved Julia from the clutches of the Emperor when she was encased in that block of clear Lexan steel. Books 1 and 2. And he also came to complete his samurai training with the ancient master Magdalene, who you find out is alive again in the last chapter. That was something I enjoyed bringing back. I thought, why not? Her race isn't immortal, but they live a very long time. Thank you, counselor, Stephen says as he shakes hands with him and some other city dignitaries here to welcome him and his entourage. As the second rebel shuttle lands next to Stephen's shuttle, the most senior members of the Alliance disembark. To no fanfare per their request. King Larkin II, his viceroy, Admiral Vlan, I don't know how I pronounce that. President Baxter, Stephen's Earth parents, Bonnie Spears, Lone Wolf, and their mom, Erwina, and their personal guard. Julia and Erwina had moved to the Second Fleet, be closer to family and friends en route. The entire system and the outlying systems around Ukraine Prime are celebrating now with the war won and the Emperor dead, the counselor says, smiling. May I ask who made the skillful killer stroke that beheaded the Emperor? My wife did, Stephen says, pointing to Julia. Then Princess, you are heroes of the New Galactic Free States, the man says, nodding. The Imperium has been disbanded, and the RONI is taking its place as security of the galaxy and the new Galactic Free States, NGFS. Another man says as they pass down a long corridor away from the platform. Hold on, I'm sorry, my friends. Been doing a lot of editing in this book. Also fixed. Oh, darn it. I forgot the end of chapter 6. It was at the top of chapter 7. Stephen remembers some of the city from his last visit here and how tall the towers and skyways are that pass above and below the level of the platform. He sees traffic lanes that pass high above this platform. Multiple highways pass at the same level as the platform and are well below its level. Many towers stood well above the level of the landing platform, well above the clouds that filled the sky. It's a really beautiful city. They make their way to the level where the Emperor used to occupy, but it was still littered with the remnants of the Emperor's previous life. But all banners have been torn down, ripped off the walls, and burned. This was a scary place last time we were here, Rena says, looking around. I remember that we barely got out of here alive with Julia, Stephen says, holding her hand. I barely remember it was just as I was just starting to regain my eyesight when we boarded the shuttle to escape the planet, Julia says. But I have never forgotten that you helped me, Rena. So you want to say all right. Sadly, Baroness Guilford died not long ago, Stephen says. I would love to check out on a new Tri-Wing starfighter, Rena says. It can be arranged, Admiral. Their escort says, nodding. I want to check out on it too. Can't read. Sorry. Stephen nods and says, nodding. It was to replace the Scorpion fighter and fighter bomber when the war ended at LGA-2. Their escort says has been checked out against the Viper, considered faster and nimbler than the Viper. The Viper is pretty fast. Maybe against the T-Wing, it may have a problem against them. We do have a new upgraded version of the T-Wing that just came into service recently, just as the war ended. Yeah, we are lucky to have ended the war when we did, their new friend says. May I ask what your name is? King Larkin asks. I am former Senator Clem Ortega Lizelle. Former senator from Ukraine Prime. The man says, Your Highness. I had dealings with you, Senator, Julia says. I am happy to know that you survived the war and now wish to sue for peace with the Alliance. I'm glad that we can deal with you as a city leader here on Ukraine Prime. I kept my head down during the time after the Emperor had the Imperial Senate dissolved. Ortega Zell says. Stolivanov was having as many surviving senators captured, tortured, and executed, if need be. But I know of many other senators are still around unprying. The Emperor was a very paranoid being. We've seen that the time since the birth of the Empire, Ortega Zell says as he looks at Rowena sideways. Still wary of the former Dark Ninja, aka Lednowski. Princess Rowena, I'm glad to know that you have reverted to your old self and that you have been vindicated of all charges since your previous encounter with the Imperium. We want to talk to you about and talk with you and question you about your past. I'm ready to face any questions, Senator, Rowena says, nodding. And I will stand beside my mother in any question me, Senator, Stephen says. As well I protect my mother, Julia says. She helped us defeat the Imperial fleet. Yes, she did, Admiral Blanc says, nodding. Then we can trust her? Ortega Zell asks. Of course, Senator, Blanc says. I think we would all vouch for Princess Erwina. I no longer feel influenced by the dark arts that the Emperor forced on me, Erwina says. I so regret everything that happened, everything that I did in my past as Levnovsky. I can never forget the 17 billion beings lost on Earth and L3A2B Pan. And I will never forget them. Stephen's using his telepathy powers to see if the senators is a dark ninja, as is Julia at the same time. Nothing, she beams to Stephen. He's not a dark ninja, alright, he beams back. Julia hugs her mother as they enter the former throne room, where they find a large conference table in one corner and a desk by a picture window overlooking the city in a Senate building in the distance. Well, the building actually was a amphitheater, like stadium-like structure. I just remembered. They all sit at the conference table with Ortega Zell seated at the head of the table. Okay. Senator Ortega Zell, as of right now, we are naming you Chancellor. Bland says, breaking the ice. It will only be temporary, at least until we have free elections. It should take about one Ukrainian year to complete. Stephen says, that is why we have tested you for your possible use of the dark arts. I'm strong in the key, and a member of the new samurai order. Thank you, Admiral Spears, Ortega Zell says, smiling. With the war over now, we want peace throughout the galaxy with equal representation in the new Senate. The formation of a cabinet of ministers representing all sides of government is underway. And I would love a representative of the new samurai order to be a part of the cabinet. We have contacted former members of the old samurai order who hid in the bottoms during its following its fall. We have a candidate to send to the cabinet, and she's a good representative, Magdalene. Have you met her, sir? Stephen asked, surprised. Yeah, everyone knows her. She's a little diminutive, a little on the strong side. Yes, I have. Dwarfish, one-eyed being with one arm, walks with a cane. Ortega Zell says, nodding. That's her. Stephen says, nodding. Good choice, Chancellor. As a regular customer at her diner, I highly respect her. Sorry, I was thirsty. She is a knowledgeable, terrifying being. But I would fight with her beside her anytime. Little change there. I didn't see that. We also want a representative of the Alliance in the cabinet. Mr. Spears, King Larkin looks to Stephen's father, seated next to the Admiral. I will accept the position, Your Highness, Stephen Spears Sr. says, nodding and looking at his wife now, who's excited to live here too. But they would be separated. Okay, let's change. I thought I got all the changes made. They would be separated from their son, but she knows he'll never forget them, and Bonnie as well, who's now exploring some of the city close by. I will make sure that Julia and I are here to see you as often as possible, Dad, Stephen says. And children will be here to see their grandparents as often as we can be here too, Julia says. Or if we have to leave on a dangerous mission, they can stay here with their grandparents. They got two sets of grandparents in two different worlds. Stephen brings out a data pad to show the new chancellor. What is this? Ortega Zell asks. We have an idea for a new form of life, artificial life form. It can look and act human like you or I. It was something I developed in the last month. Developing a new artificial intelligence brain using engrams from the human mind along with the hologram chip that'll boost the intelligence a millionfold. It can be male or female, and can also have emotions and use contractions like can't. Right. You know what I'm talking about? From Star Trek The Next Generation. Data. That's where I got the idea from. He now pulls up a small metal container and opens it to pull out a small human-shaped brain matter. It's contained in a small, clear, like square container. This is the brain that I integrated from the dead bodies of previous battles. Stephen says, explaining what he's done so far. The chips embedded into the brain matter will boost IQ a millionfold, boosting calculations from seconds to microseconds. Gone. Done. Let my scientists work with this new development, Admiral Ortega says. I believe. I erased it anyway. He then takes the data pad, the plans for bone, organs, and all. The skin tissue of the body are in the schematics for the android. It'll look human. Excellent, Ortega Zell says, looking over the plans for the droid. I'm going to change that to something else. Well, I'll leave it as droid. According to these plans, most of the bone and tissue material can be cloned, a woman says as she looks at the schematics. And the brain can be replicated repeatedly too, correct? Correct, Stephen says, nodding. That's why chapter 7's a little long, because I changed a lot of stuff. They returned to the Silver Diner to celebrate the end of the war and rise of the new galactic free states. Rowena asks now. Let's please. My treat, Stephen says, nodding. They all rise to their feet and now walk out to a platform on the roof of the Imperial Palace and the former Samurai Dojo. They have 3 speeder cars waiting for them to board. Then ride. To the bottoms in the Silver Diner. The Chancellor's guard escorts them just around okay. Just around, I'm sorry, I think I had to change everything. To just around the Silver Diner with dozens of well-wishers meet them. People are so excited to avoid facing the Imperium and possibly explore the secret dungeons beneath the palace. A lot of people died down the nose. They all walk into the Silver Diner to be greeted by Magdalene and onlookers who see the heroes of the Galactic Civil War, who have ended the rebellion against the Galactic Empire and the death of the Emperor still living off. Whoops. This is having he's a little short today. A little short. And his body's breathing vacuum. Everyone is frightened by the sight of Rowena walking into the Silver Diner, still in most of her breathing gear, but now she is without the artificial eyepiece that covered her left eye. Until just days ago, instead, she uses a cloned eyeball that is real, made from DNA and tissue taken from the princess to help her look human again. But in old hollow pictures of the princess before the fall of the GFS, her eye color is mismatched to the opposite eye, similar to her children's eyes. I don't know what the name of that disorder is. I forget what they call it. I keep forgetting to look it up. But I do note the changes in the princess's demeanor now. Not threatening or scary, just friendly and caring. Ooh, that made it rhyme. Some old timers do remember when she was the Princess Rowena and how she acted around people here on Ukrania Prime. The person before them is acting as she had before the fall of the old GFS. This made them feel comfortable with the former Dark Ninja nearby. Plus, Lewandowski never stepped foot in the bottoms or in the Silver Diner. So it's true, the Dark Ninja is no more. My patron just out here asks. My previous self is gone now and forever, Rowena says flatly and smiling. And once again, Princess Rowena, I only want peace with the people of the galaxy. So, is anybody looking, watching? No. Here, here, everyone calls out. And so everyone sits at a large table as people watch his former enemies sit down to celebrate the end of a 20-year war that killed billions and destroyed 2 worlds in the process, leaving survivors to wonder what is to happen now. And food and drinks are all ordered and all put on Stephen's tab. It's on TVs around the diner. Film of the ongoing celebrations and continue the arrests of Imperial sympathizers continues. All sports events are postponed while the celebrations continue. There have been a few incidents involving former Imperium staging bombings and assassination attempts, but nothing has gone beyond the event in question. On the floor of the diner, a mural of the planet Earth now lies with faces of humans, dolphins, elephants, and even Sasquatch. Bigfoot is painted around the globe. Bigfoot. Hold on. It turns out that Sasquatch was not a myth, but a true creature that existed in regions of the earth not inhabited by human Homo sapiens. They were the dying remnants of the Neanderthal species, long thought extinct. Till one day a group of brilliant Sasquatch walked into a city to announce that they were very much alive and wished to make peace with the humans, the dominant species on Earth. Little snag there, huh? What do you think of that? To be honest with you, I do believe in Sasquatch. We can't be the only intelligent species on this planet. But I don't go out hunting for stuff like that. That's crazy. I'm a little Looney Tunes, but I'm not crazy. Each was dressed in clothes that they manufactured that almost looked like human clothes. And on the day that the Earth was destroyed, several hundred Sasquatch made it onto ships to escape the destruction of the Earth. Now they now live among the Nagano warriors and Centauri Prime. Since both races were so close in looks and mannerisms, plus later on, their DNA almost matched one another. Earth Defense Command, EDC, had made every effort to make peace with the species that calls themselves the Ones. The Sasquatch, all right? Since the 24th century, Sasquatch and humanity have coexisted, coming to find out that there were several million of them. Sorry. I keep getting this damn pop-up that's getting on my nerves. My screen. There. All right, let's try that again. Coming to find out that there are several million of them living across the planet in the deep valleys and caves of the world, now long gone. And the Sasquatch even sent their young to human schools and universities. But they had still built their own towns and villages and constructed schools to educate their young in their own ways. Allowed humans to build medical centers and similar facilities in their regions to help with the health and welfare of the Ones, aka Sasquatch. To the end of the rebellion, Stephen says aloud for all to hear. To the end of the empire, Julia sings out loudly next. Hear, hear, everyone in the diner sings out as one. Here's to the heroes that ended the terror reign of Emperor Stilvanov. Admiral Glenn says, here's to the person who cut the Emperor's reign short with one stroke of her samurai sword, my daughter, Princess Julia Larkin Spears. Her father says, hugging Julia now. To the heroes, all the diners sing out, cheering not just Julia, but Stephen and their mother. Stephen, you are a lucky man, Sep says. Ian Natuk, welcome to join the party. Sep! Stephen calls out, when did you two drag your sorry butts into town? I just love surprises. Just a few hours ago, kid, Sep says, smiling as always. I am here to discuss the terms of a trade agreement with the Guild of Cargo Handlers on Cronier Prime. Since now he is. There's no war between the rebels. There's no rebel and there's no rebellion anymore. It's amazing how much this place has changed since we were here last. I know, and for the good too, Steven says. How goes the trade discussions? Done. The worlds of the former Rebel Alliance will trade openly and freely with the worlds of the former empire. It seems that the emperor closed off all trade with rebel worlds, forcing his own people to starve on some worlds in some cases. Sorry. See if anybody's on. Nope. I'm glad we ended this war, President Baxter says now. Little B is one of those worlds that suffers from famine every year. No thanks to the Empire's stripping it of all its resources to feed the throne world here. So on my heels, I had a fleet of cargo haulers en route to the system. They will begin dropping off food, water, medicine, and whatever else the people in that world may need. Good for you, Admiral. King Larkin says, nodding. All right, now you see why I cut this chapter in half. Well, the previous chapter in half. Thought this was going to be a short chapter, and then I look at it, whoa, it's a long chapter. I still have 5 more pages to read. Thank you, Your Highness, Seth says, nodding in return. Did you see the new starfighters now zipping around the system? Stephen asked. Yeah, I did. The Tri-Wing, Seth says, smiling. It was to replace the Scorpion and the fighter bombers in frontline service. But the end of the war put an end to that. So it now serves as a new replacement for the Viper. I have a feeling that the kid's going to want to be checked out on the new toy too. Sep says into Tuck's ear. Damn right I am, Sep. Boys and new shiny toys. Yeah, Baxter says, laughing too. I see you made everyone know, Hannah. Congrats. Long overdue. You deserve it, Sep says, nodding. Okay, give me a break. Taking a break. That's probably the longest section of this whole chapter right there I just read. That's why I had to. I was going to further that yesterday. But I couldn't stop. Well, give me 1 second. I'm just going to check something out. That was 7 pages long. That one section I just read. Whew, that's a lot of typing I did there. That was 7 pages I just finished reading, and I still got 5 more to go. All right, let's keep going. Wow, I love these new starfighters, Steven says as he barely touches the control stick. And the Tri-Wing responds instantly to his commands. It's a side stick control stick like the F-16. It's on his right side. Hold on. The throttles to the twin J322B ion pulse fusion engines on his left. Has an all-glass panel in front of him like on the White Wing minus the HUD. It's all built into the flight helmet and into the pilot wears as well into the inside of the canopy. It is hyperspace capable of 3.58 past the speed of light. They are also 1.5 meters shorter and have a fuselage of 0.338 meters narrower. But the wingspan of the Tri-Wing is also some 1 meter shorter than the Y-Wing. It is equipped with delta wings and 2 55mm blaster cannon attached to the wingtips. with winglets that cant downwards, almost vertically, like on the new T-Wing B. It is also paired with an astromech droid for navigation and other purposes. It has a single missile pod fitted between the engines and below and behind the cockpit. Also comes with hard points for external weapons storage. A small pod built into the nose is a new Vorn Pax G1214B pulse Doppler radar that can pierce through even the most advanced cloaking device. That's not scary. That's not a pleasant thought. So could I Stephen? Rena calls out over his radio. I need to fix that. Calls out over his radio as she jukes around a small one-person, slow-moving work bee tug hauling a long line of cargo pods. Stephen passes along the opposite side of the work bee's pilot. He is shocked to see a couple crazy fighter jockeys buzzing him. The pilot was shaking his fist at them as he zipped past his glass cockpit like he was just standing there. No, they was standing still. As the pilot tries to offload a load of cargo pods from a newly arrived vessel from Centauri Prime. You two want to have some alone time with your new toys? Hannah asks as he joins them beside them in her T-Wing. No, but thanks, Hannah, for bringing us back to Earth, Steve says. Excuse me one second. Alright. He does the final checkout on the new Tri-Wing, and loves how responsive they are compared to the old vaunted Y-Wing, which the pilots refer to as the Viper. Then returns to the hangar on Ukrania Prime, hovering down to a soft vertical 3-point landing on the tarmac just outside the hangar. A commodity that the Y-Wing was not known for, and needs a runway at least 3,000 meters long for takeoff and landing, unless launched from a carrier like the Hornet. Alright, I gotta fix that. I gotta change. Using catapult. System. I gotta fix this stuff. I gotta change. I thought I fixed it all. He smiles as he sees dozens of the new small, nimble fighters lined up inside and outside of the numerous hangars at the main military airfield on Ukrania Prime. He watches as fighters take off and land from the airport at all hours of the day. He even sees the SFB 614A U-Wing fighter bomber, better known as the Goody Bird, parked alongside the Tri-Wing. I always like that word. It still has the same layout as the ubiquitous U-Wing minus the huge vertical tail, but fitted with downward canted winglets on the wingtips. It still has the delta wing shape of the original U-Wing, only smaller. The fuselage is even smaller. It's fitted with two J322B ion pulse fusion engines like those on the Tri-Wing. The new U-Wing even has vertical takeoff capability like the Tri-Wing. Also, the Tri-Wing is nimbler in atmospheric flight operations compared to the Y-Wing. The Goody Bird is armed with two 45mm autocannons and the wing's leading edge, and an H-wing twin nose, a 65mm heavy cannon for ground attack, but it can also carry a Mark 107B torpedo or 5,000 pounds of heavy ordnance in a centerline recess just under the cockpit. Oh, somebody's online. Hi, Hiki. How you doing, my friend? Glad to see you online, catching me. I got like 4 more pages to read after this one. But thank you for coming online. How you doing? Did you catch the part where I introduced an android? Looks like, if you know what who Data was from Star Trek The Next Generation? That's what gave me the idea for this android I'm creating. I bring into the story. Except for it's a female. She has emotions and can say words like can't or won't, isn't, instead of is not or cannot. Yeah, she can use contractions. She has feelings too. She has emotions. She don't need an emotion chip to help her. She was actually cloned, but she has an artificial mind, an AI mind inside her head. I think that's how I described her. All right, let me grab a drink and I'll get back to reading. Just damn tap water. Ugh. Okay. Yeah, I just had to see you say hello, Steven. I'm glad to see you online, my friend. Were you online yesterday? I think you were. I think you came on just as I was finishing. It was a short chapter. This is a long one. I only have like 4 more pages left to read after this. All right, now I'll get back to reading. It scares me to think that if the empire had won the war, won the battle. Sorry, Pan. Okay. Sorry, I keep seeing stuff I need to change, and I thought I got them all. Let's start that over. It scares me to think that the empire had won the battle at Pan, and I'd faced that in this little fighter. And our Vipers, we would not stand a chance against the Tri-Wing, Stephen says later after his debriefing, and is cleared for the Tri-Wing now. Yes, you are right there, Stephen. Rena says as they change into their regular clothes in a locker room shared by men and women alike. I remember when they tried to replace the U-Wing with a better, faster fighter bomber, but the Green Bird keeps on flying. Steven says as he runs his hand along the wing edge of a U-Wing till he reaches the wingtip. Then runs his hand down the winglet. Stephen, my former apprentice, he hears in his mind. Damn, I keep missing words. Sorry. From a voice he hasn't heard for a while, as this apparition appears from out of thin air. Tegas, he beams back. Is that you? Yes, it is I. Yes, it is, my friend. Tegas beams back. No, but it is. I have a new mission for you to take on. What is it, Master? Stephen beams back. I want you to find the long lost homeworld of the samurai warrior race. Befto. Beftao. I don't know how to pronounce it. The samurai and dark ninja both lived on this world long before the birth of the old galactic free states. Many samurai masters from centuries ago do not know the coordinates of Beftao. We only know that it is located in the small Magellanic Cloud. I doubt that even Grandmaster Magdalene could see. Let's see what. No. Yeah. No, not that I know of. I haven't seen him. Sorry, that was my mom asking me a question. Sorry. Not bad. I gotta fix something anyway. I gotta go back and fix chapter 7. I thought I fixed it all. I gotta get back and make some more changes to chapter 7. I doubt that even Master Magdalene would know where the sacred world is located. You can see her. You can ask her, sorry. Does she even know what the world looks like? What world looks like? Stephen asks. Themes, whatever. Even though he's, yeah, whatever. As far as we know, it was an Earth E-type world, but the size of planet Mars. Tegus beams. You will feel the presence of the key when you near the world. You will be drawn to Bethel. But as far as placement and continents, and the color of the world in general, I cannot help you there either. Its appearance was lost many millennia ago. You can finish your training there with Julia and other members of the new samurai order. It was so wonderful to know that samurai survived the emperor's purges. Thank you, my friend, and good luck. You're welcome, my friend. Stephen beams back, and thank you for what you've done for me and Julia as well. It gladdens me to know. It gladdens me that your mother is back in the fold of the samurai order. Tegus beams. It is good to see you train your wife, the princess, to be a samurai warrior. You did well, my friend. Goodbye, my friend. His apparition now dissolves into thin air once more. Thank you, Tegus. Stephen beams back, smiling. Stephen now looks for his old samurai master, Magdalene, finding her meditating in the old council chamber of the old samurai order. Master Magdalene, may we speak privately? He asks now as he sits on the floor, cross-legged before the master. Stephen, my friend, of course we can talk. What is it? I had an interesting conversation with Master Tegus. You know the world Beftal? Beftal? That is only a legend, my friend, Magdalene says, smiling. But all I know of it is that it resided in the small Magellanic Cloud as a Mars-side E-type world planet. I need to explain that. Sorry. E-type means it's an Earth type. I should probably explain that since book 1. She then pulls out a small cube-shaped, pyramid-shaped object from a pouch under her person. This is a Nereid pyramid. It's the ancient storage device of ancient samurai warriors. Stephen can see tiny clouds flowing inside the small palm-sized object. She now touches a small spot on the side of the object, and a small, tiny globe Tiny globe materializes above the apex of the object. This is the only known image of Death Tau in existence. Originally, I didn't have that in my handwritten version. I had that the last. It's just a. I don't know why I did it. Where'd you get this? Stephen asks as the small globe rotates. It looks like a duplicate of the Earth with a few minor changes. The oceans were a light shade of green, unlike the blue of his Earth. My first master handed this to me when I finally passed my challenges. Nodding. She said, nodding. He told me not many masters hand this information down to fellow masters until they are more seasoned like yourself. And so I shall pass it down to you. She hands the small pyramid-shaped object over to Stephen, which floats a couple feet into Stephen's hands. Small object. Thank you for the thumbs up. I want to say, I don't know if I said it. Does your master remember how long ago Bethel disappeared into memory? Stephen asks, touching the spot, causing the image to fade out. At least 55,000 years ago. At least 55,000 years, as far as I know. Amazing. So in the intervening millennia, the world could have changed physically, Stephen says, but there are no pinpoint coordinates for the world. It has been lost to history. There's a shot in the dark, mister. Okay. Sorry, 1 second. No kitty in my room. Expeditions were given up not long after I became a Grand Master, Magdalene says. Now Master Tagus wishes for me to find and finish my final samurai training there, Stephen says, but I thought it was finished with my training. No samurai has ever finished with their training, Magdalene says. The Dark Ninja too? Unknown. We separated our ways long before I was born. But I will accompany you in your journey too. Thank you, Master, Stephen says, nodding and smiling. He pockets he pockets the small object in his pouch on his left side and leaves the chambers to find his wife, mother, and other members of the New Galactic Free States. They were all in a gallery overlooking a huge hangar bay, looking over a new, much larger version of the Eagle. In shape and design. Design includes landing pods and gear, cockpit shape, weapons positions, engine pods, and space for mission pods, in addition to 3 of the new tri-wings parked nearby. While it's a crew with some 65 men and women. She's beautiful, he says as he walks up to take Julia's hand. It's the new C-class cargo passenger vessel, Sepp says, as he looks at the similarity to his Eagle, just in a much bigger shape. It's almost like my own Eagle, but only in size difference. But only in size difference. It comes with a 2-level command bridge for accommodations for 150 passengers and 65 crew. It is armed with one of the same ion blaster cannons in a dorsal position. The passenger pod can carry 150 passengers, beings comfortably with a crew of 65 officers and crew, or 75 passengers with 200 metric tons of cargo, or 500 metric tons in a cargo configuration. That's a big ship. And I have a picture of it. I'll show it. Just a general idea. It also comes with armed with 3 of the new tri-wing fighters that you can see with pilots included in the ship's complement. Septatrix says now, smiling. Sorry. It's like I don't have a job here. I already have a captain to command the ship, so I could be a passenger if you allow me to come accompany you. Happy to have you along, Skipper. Steve says, nodding. Steve says, this is the SS Jaeger. Admiral Flynn says, named after Earth aviator, legendary Earth aviator Charles E. Chuck Yeager. He was an ancestor of mine, Stephen finishes for the Admiral. Great man from what the history books say of the man. Sep says, yeah, he was. Yes, he was. Stephen nods. Stephen says, sorry. They all go down to the main hangar deck to do a long walk around the vast hull of the massive cargo carrier. The legs alone dwarfed the people and all the equipment strewn around the enormous hangar bay as droids work on the onboard systems and fuel it up. When do you want to leave, Stephen? Princess Arlena asks. All right, I got 2 more pages. Actually, 1 more page after this, my friend. Sorry. I am working on a side project with the local cloning team here on Ukraine Prime, along with the top AI developers on Ukraine Prime. I am trying to create an android that looks and acts human. And I told you about her. Using the new artificial brain I created. I figure the first android will be ready for testing in a few days. She's nearly 90% complete as of this morning. You only got her a few days. Got here a few days ago. Gave the plans and schematics for your creation just after that, and they're about to bring it to life? His mother asks. Yes, Mom, they have. Stephen says, nodding. You gave it a gender? She's an anatomically correct. Yes, sir, she is. Can we see this creation of yours, Admiral? Here she is, prototype number 1. Stephen says as they stand around a large sealed tank. It resembles a coffin, but is egg-shaped, with transparent Lexan viewports to look inside, and liquid in a transparent gas inside. They can see a naked female lying inside who looks at peace with the universe. She seems to be in her early teenage years, but the gas conceals most of her body. But you can tell that the body is inside that the body inside is humanoid, has human skin, hair, and body parts, arms, legs, and genitalia. Yeah, I'll admit. But through the gas, they can see how beautiful she is. She's beautiful, Seth says. I used the DNA from Julia for the looks and facial features. She has red blood like a normal human being, but her bone structure is reinforced with a plastisteel structure. Her skin is real human skin that developed on her body. She'll grow up faster than most humans, reach full adult age in just 1 day. She'll be able to lift 50 kilograms one-handed. That's 50 kilograms. I don't know how many pounds that is. It's 150 kilograms two-handed. She can run faster than the fastest land animal. As far as I know, the cheetah. I don't know if there's anything in the universe that's faster than them. She'll also be a backup navigator with the ability to calculate 50 hyperspace jumps in microseconds. With the help of some Admiral Rigo's own DNA and brain engrams, she'll be smarter than even our best supercomputers. She will also have grayish blue eyes, 5 fingers and 5 toes, and human ears. Does she have a name yet, Admiral? Lan asks, looking closely at the glass at the girl's face. Had a question. Comma there. Eve, Stephen says, smiling. Interesting, too, according to the Judean Bible, Eve was the first woman created by the earth god. King Larkin says, yes, Your Highness. Stephen says, nodding. I cannot wait to meet her, Lan says, smiling. To think we will create an artificial being who can outthink our fastest and smartest computers anywhere. Will she accompany you on your mission? Okay, sorry. Yes, sir, Stephen says, nodding. I think it best she be given an honorary commission, at least until she can graduate from the academy, sir. Lieutenant Eve, Deland says flatly. Yes, sir. I was thinking more along the lines of Vincent, but that's good too. Lieutenant Eve is fine with me, Deland says. Thank you, sir. Stephen says. This was a secret project of his for some time, even before the Battle of Pan. Working on it in his private time. What little spare time he has had, that is. And that, my friend, is it. Chapter 7. I have 2 more chapters after this. Originally, it was going to be an 8-chapter long book. But, unfortunately, originally it was going to be like 7 chapters long, but then I cut this 2 chapters of very long chapters into made them 2 separate chapters. So what do you think, my friend? You liked it? Oh, hold on. I know what I need. I know what I want. All right. Thinking in this book. Oh, did I ever show you this? This is the guy's running alphabet and numbers. It took me forever. It was like, thanks. What'd you think of my creation at the end of the chapter? Interesting idea. Oh, this is Magdalene. It sort of like a cyclops, as I thought. Okay, hang on. I guess I've not introduced those guys yet. And I think I will in the next book. Sorry. The evolved whale with arms. Oops, sorry. There. I keep moving my pages. What do you think of that? Evolved whale with human arms. I'm working on any ideas for book 5. And an air-breathing, man-eating shark. Yeah, where is the human? Oh, right here. The man-eating shark that breathes air, and that's a human for scale. Oh, there's something I'm thinking about putting in book 5. I just thought of that when I was looking at that. That picture just popped up in my head. All right, let's see. Hold on. three notebooks full of drawings. Oh, I showed you this before. This is my new version of the T-Wing. I give it that big bulky tail, vertical dorsal tail, whatever you want to call it. And what those little winglets on the wingtips. I got a big bulky heavy gun and canted the wings were this way, down this way, a little bit downward canted. Let's see, here's my new approved. That's the U-wing, the new U-wing that's in the story. Yeah. Oh, I have to go, my friend. I'm sorry. Just got called to dinner. Don't mean to be rude, but I have to go. Thank you for listening. I hope you caught most of what I read to you today. You have a good day, my friend. Bye. Sorry about that. I just got. Take care. Thank you for listening. Be good. God bless you, and you take care. Oops.